Hello, everybody. Hello to our global audience. Today is Monday, the day of the supposed maximum pressure campaign, when Scott Bessent is going to deprive Iran of the way that they have been living for the past 50 years. Uh, Lots going on. So, we are here to give you the latest news with me, my dear friend and colleague, Larry Johnson, military analyst, a CIA analyst, is here to break it all down for you. Uh, if you like what we do, please hit the like and subscribe button. Go to Substack, become a paid member so that you can support us. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, I figure we ought to have queued up a musical number from Peggy Lee back in the '60s. She sang a song called "Is That All There Is?" and and after I didn't get to hear all of what Besson said, but I saw what the basic outcome was. And after promising this D-Day, most massive sanctions ever into the world, you sit there and listen to what he said, and you go, is that all there is? Really? That's it? Uh, you build it up expecting a nuclear blast, and when it's all said and done, you get a mouse fart.
Yes.
Because what did he say? Well, we're going to make sure anybody that does business with Iran through the Western financial system is going to be out of luck. Well, guess what? Iran's not doing business through the Western financial system. They've shifted to China. They're dealing with Chinese currency. They're dealing with Chinese banks. They're ignoring the Western system. And countries that are dealing with Iran, such as Pakistan, too, have shifted to China. So those countries that still want to do business with Iran through a Western bank or with the U.S. dollar, yeah, I don't see Iran lining up to do business with them. And so then it's, what this reflects is that Scott Bessent is living in the past. He still believes that there's an international system out there that the U.S. controls, and that Iran has no alternative but to submit itself to that institution, which is just crazy. Now, as you and Pepe discussed yesterday, Asim Munir did show up in Tehran today. He has had the discussions. We're not sure exactly with whom, but at a minimum, I'm assuming that it's Arachi as well as Galibaf. It'd be interesting to see if he meets with the Ayatollah himself and has any conversations there. But it's clear that if the reports that we've received are reliable, and I have no doubt that the people reporting it believe what they say, but the issue is, are they really offering Iran a membership and the new, let's call it the Mecca deal? And if that's the case, this is a game changer. It marks a significant departure from the system that has been used to both try to subjugate Iran for the last 47 years, because the United States was trying to foment conflict between Sunni countries and Iran, which is largely Shia. But as you know, the Shia influence is not confined just to Iran. There is a significant Shia presence in Iraq, which the United States, I guess, discovered much to its surprise in 2003, thinking they'd come in and overthrow Saddam and be welcomed as victors. And I guess nobody ever took time to explain to them they were essentially liberating people that were supported by and had long-standing religious relations with Iran from the yoke of Saddam Hussein. And that plan sort of backfired for the United States. the uh, the prospect that as you step back and look at the relationship of Pakistan with China and Iran with China, and, if you will, Iran with Saudi Arabia. So we got to go back to 2023 when Xi Jinping made his trip to Moscow and met and held extensive meetings with Vladimir Putin. And out of that, if you will, whatever relationship they had before that was further solidified. It was expanded. The friendship became deeper. And in that friendship, they also agreed that they would reach out and begin cooperating on a number of issues. So one of those issues apparently was the relationship between Iran and Saudi Arabia. That there had been that war going on, a proxy war between Iran and Saudi Arabia in Yemen, with the Houthis and the so-called government forces. And that then came to an end because China in early March brought the Saudis and the Iranians to Beijing, and it was in Beijing that they basically buried the hatchet. They reestablished diplomatic relations, and in establishing those diplomatic relations, it ended up bringing an end to the conflict that had been going on. This animus, because the United States played on that. They worked their damnedest to try to foment, keep the Saudis convinced that they had to fight the Iranians, that the Iranians represented a full threat to them. Once that's settled, all of a sudden the Saudis and Iranians are now on a different sheet of music. They're not necessarily on a collision path. And it was I was just double checking the date on the visit of Xi. So that also took place the third week in March. And so it was just a week before that visit that China had brought the Iranians and Saudis together. So I don't view these as unconnected. And we saw this connection again recently in the end of April in St. Petersburg. Vladimir Putin is meeting with Foreign Minister Araghchi of Iran. And when they come out, Putin announces the need for a new security architecture in the Persian Gulf in West Asia. Araghchi then gets on his plane, heads for Beijing. 1 week later, following his meeting with Foreign Minister Wang Yi, again, Foreign Minister Wang Yi comes out and reiterates the thing that President Putin had said about the need for a new security architecture. So I don't think it's any surprise that, 2 weeks ago, when Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey came together to sign what is being touted as the Mecca Agreement, I think the signing that agreement in Mecca was designed to send a message to the world and to the Muslim world in particular. It was viewed, and I viewed it somewhat skeptically at first as well, because the three countries, while on paper appear to be a strong alliance, they've each got their own problems right now. Particularly the Saudis, they're suffering economically because of the shutdown of oil exports out of the Persian Gulf. But since then, the word has surfaced. We've had statements out of Turkey, as well as now actions out of Pakistan, that others are invited, that it's not restricted, that Egypt's invited, Syria has expressed interest in joining. Bangladesh expressed interest in joining. And now we've got the reports that Iran is being directly invited, which appears to be one of the purposes of Asim Munir's current visit in Tehran. We'll see what Arachi says today as the day wears on. But if this in fact comes to pass, then I think we can clearly say we are looking at the end of U.S. diplomatic and military control of the Persian Gulf and of West Asia. So I'll cut off there.
Well, Pepe and I were here yesterday, and
I
just
watched.
before.
I watched. I got on later, but as you know, I was teaching.
Yes, yes, I understand. I understand you were always invited, but I knew that you were teaching. But just before Pepe and I got on the air, I had, maybe 10 minutes prior to that, I received a call from a very reliable source from a a privileged place. That's the most I will say about that. Saying that Galibaf had been in conversation with another party that I'm asked not to reveal, uh, expressing enthusiasm that Asim Munir will be in Tehran today, and he is in Tehran today with an invitation for Iran to join the Mecca Agreement. I mean, I can confirm that to everybody. We announced that yesterday on the show with Pepe, and we discussed it among ourselves. And now I can reconfirm that this is in fact the case. Iran has been invited to join the Mecca Agreement. Big deal. I think it's an extraordinary deal because if Iran and Saudi Arabia, Pakistan and Turkey are in the Mecca Agreement, uh, and soon Bangladesh will be there, other countries will be there. This is not going to be the paper tiger that people have assumed it to be.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think what it does is it destroys the narrative that there is this uh, unhealable animosity between Sunnis and Shias. Now, there is, with again, we don't paper it over. There are definite theological differences that separate the Sunni interpretation of Islam from that of the Shia. But both let's call them flavors of Islam share the fundamental beliefs in common, and there's more for them to be, as it were, comrades as opposed to enemies. But yet, over the last 46 years, 47 years, the United States has cultivated this narrative that the Shia, if you will, must be destroyed. And it not only cultivated the narrative, but made the funding possible. And it started off back in the 1980s with the help of Pakistan, the funding that went to Sunni extremist groups in Afghanistan that were fighting the Soviets then. And again, this was, while this effort was portrayed to the American people as we're standing up for the rights of the people of Afghanistan, that was a lie. Afghanistan was a trap laid by Zbigniew Brzezinski, the security advisor of Jimmy Carter, later embraced by Ronald Reagan and his national security team as a way to trap the Soviets and to weaken the Soviets. And in fact, that effort succeeded. So these Islamic groups that were supported, the United States obtained financial support from the Gulf Arabs and other prominent Muslims in Asia to sustain that war. And then as we got into the 1990s, by the mid to late 1990s, Bill Clinton signs a finding. And that finding does two things. It authorizes the CIA to begin working with, funding, again, these radical Salafists who considered Shia Muslims as non-believers, and to attack them, but also to operate in the Balkans, and then the Balkan War started with a group of Salafist Islamic extremists operating there, and then also the start of the Second Chechen War in August, I believe it was August 7th of 1999. Now, both those were not those two efforts were unrelated, because that was all about attacking Russia and trying to weaken Russia. And then, in tandem with that, as the administration of George W. Bush comes into office, he signs a CIA finding, again a secret finding, authorizing the CIA to step up its support for radical Islamic groups fighting against Iran. And that was extended by Barack Obama in 2012, something called Operation Timber Sycamore. So the point in this is that the United States has been using the Gulf Arabs as a piggy bank, turning to them to finance these fighters, to finance the weapons, to finance the supplies they need to conduct military operations and paramilitary operations, and all the time targeting Iran in this process. Now, I think most of these countries, with the exception maybe the UAE, are tired of playing that role and tired of being used as a foil for attacking Iran. And so that if this proceeds, and I'm inclined to believe that it will, then the unity bringing Iran into this Mecca Agreement is laying the foundation for forcing the United States out of the region and establishing genuine Muslim control of the region.
Well, Larry, I could not have said that better myself in terms of summation of what exactly is going on, and I can only supplement that with the reporting that I have. The reporting that I have is as current as maybe 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago, and that was when Asim Munir was actually in Tehran, and that was that. Conversations between him and Iranian leadership have been enthusiastic. That's the word that my source used, enthusiastic. And invitation has been extended by Asim Munir to the Iranian leadership to become the fourth member of the Mecca Pact, and they have genuinely expressed a lot of interest in that. Now, moving on to another subject that I briefly discussed via a brief to you last night, around 2 a.m. my time, which was at the time that I received it, was that Trump, strangely enough, is looking to Asim Munir again
Yeah.
to to become a mediator. He's flailing around, going in every which direction, trying to find an exit. And I'm informed by reliable sources again that Trump and Asim Munir have spoken before Asim Munir left for Tehran, and Trump urged him to find an off ramp. I'm also told that Asim Munir discussed that with the Iranian leadership, and they said, "Okay, we are happy to hear you." So, what do you make of that, Larry?
Well, I don't think we're going to see any serious effort from Trump to negotiate. I mean, genuinely negotiate in a way that will and meet Iran's demands until after September 6th, after Labor Day. We're still in sort of what is the summer period in the United States, still the August vacation period, and Congress is out. So I think Trump's going to give Bessent really a week and a half to see if his draconian economic sanctions are going to work. And I think over the course of the next 2 weeks, so here we are on Monday, August 24th. Next Monday will be the 31st. And then we'll have, basically 5 days following in which Labor Day weekend takes place, the holiday. It will only be then, after that I think you're going to see Trump then really be desperate for a move, because the reality of the midterms will be up on him. The polling, the political trends will be quite apparent. And I think he'll finally come to understand he's got to change course, or else he's going to be dead, not just dead politically, but he will be completely vulnerable to congressional investigations and impeachment charges if the Democrats sweep both the House and the Senate, which right now they are projected to do so.
What do you make of his? I can confirm that there was a call between Trump and Asim Munir before Asim Munir left. This is something am I'm able to say confidently because it came from a very reliable source that has been consistently correct in reading out what is going on. And this source confirmed to me that Trump and Asim Munir spoke. The discussion centered around an off ramp for Trump and utilizing the visit that Trump knew was taking place. And then, subsequent to that conversation, Asim Munir called up the Iranian leadership and they said, okay, we're happy to hear you out. What do you make of that?
Yeah, no, it sounds like there may be some communication now. But I wonder if it's Trump or it's actually J.D. Vance, because Trump has been all over the map on this, and frankly, his behavior is quite erratic. It's been only 4 days since he threatened to bomb, 5 days since he threatened to bomb Oman, who had been a previous mediator. And I think his anger at that point towards Oman was because Oman and Iran have agreed to a procedure for moving ships through the Strait of Hormuz. The other, I guess, dynamic at play here is the shortage of oil, specifically the shortage of sour crude. And that sour crude is 70% of the U.S. refineries are designed to handle sour crude. They're not designed to handle sweet crude. And that's what has made the United States a net importer of that sour crude. The United States doesn't produce enough on its own. And it is in the past, it was importing from Russia, from the Persian Gulf, from Canada, from Mexico, from Venezuela. Now, they don't have Russia anymore. They don't have the Persian Gulf. Now they have to rely on Canada, Mexico, and Venezuela. Venezuela's production, though, is falling off because of problems with the infrastructure. So it's not able to increase its supply in any significant way. China is turning increasingly to Canada. And in light of the anger, the dust up between Canada and the United States on the issue of trade, it would appear that Canada is now inclined to start sending more of its oil that it has previously sent to the United States to Canada. So the United States we now have an actual shortage of oil. and there's no solution for it on the immediate horizon. And that is, I think, one other element at play in shaping Trump's willingness, perhaps new willingness, to talk to Iran or to at least have Pakistan intervene with Iran on behalf of the United States.
Well, I can confirm that that has in fact taken place. I can also confirm that Qatar is behind that as well. That Qatar has been privy to these conversations, supporting these conversations, and behind these conversations. So, I mean, that is where that is at. Now, all of this is happening with the backdrop of maximum sanctions that Scott Bessent is supposed to have levied already.
But yeah, but I just, again, I've been watching the report. I mean, he just spoke about an hour ago, 45 minutes ago.
Scott,
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was being covered live. But what the subsequent news reports are, he's still threatening. He didn't lay out specifics saying this company we're doing this and this company and this country and this product. There weren't really any specifics, and very, very, very odd that you build up this expectation. By God, we're going to hit you with everything we got, and then, like I said, I expected a volcanic eruption, and instead we got a mouse fart.
Yes, yes. Well, I can tell you from Pakistan, I mean, sources inside Islamabad, very high up, they're not concerned at all, which is very refreshing, very surprising, because I mean, previously Pakistan used to get very upset with a threat of any kind of sanction, and now this guy has been talking about sanctions that you have never seen before, blah blah blah. We need you to stop opening up to Iran. We need you to close down all these 6 corridors, blah blah blah. All of this nonsense, and the reaction from Pakistan is, go ahead, make my day, so to speak. As in the movie from the 80s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Dirty Harry.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, in fact, I heard that from a key member of the existing political leadership, that their reaction was, "Make my day, asshole." Just go ahead and do what you have to do. And the reason is that China is really, really behind Pakistan and Iran, telling both of them that no, you stay the course.
Yeah, no, it is. The entire U.S. focus is predicated on the assumption and the belief that the entire world is dependent on the U.S. petrodollar, that the United States is at the center of this economic universe, and that there is no alternative. And unfortunately, that's a delusion, because as we are seeing now, the Chinese have set up an alternative financial network, and that alternative financial network is alive and thriving, building. More and more countries are coming under its umbrella. It is a central part of BRICS, and BRICS continues to grow in importance despite efforts by the United States and Europe to weaken it and to destroy it. And so this, and it's in this regard that I think we're going to see actually Pakistan now become a bigger player in BRICS, which will be interesting because in the past, the West has done everything to promote conflict between Pakistan and India. If India becomes more involved with BRICS, it brings India and Pakistan in partnership, at least economically. So I said we're seeing some pretty potentially dramatic developments that will make it more difficult for the United States to foment terrorism, to foment tensions, and to try to separate these countries, use divide and conquer. Uh, the Chinese Russia approach to the BRICS is to unify, build and unify.
Well, so we are seeing a dramatic realignment, Larry,
Yeah,
a realignment that we have not seen in the last 47 years.
correct.
And what do you make of Pakistan being approached by Bahrain of all the countries to become a member of the agreement between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan?
Well, I view that with great curiosity. You know me, I'm skeptical of
Yes.
all this. Uh, let me put it this way: if Bahrain and Kuwait really did make that approach to Pakistan, and are seriously interested in shifting their loyalties away from the United States towards an accommodation with Iran, then again, this is one more nail in the coffin of we'll be burying the legacy of United States hegemony in the Persian Gulf, and it will be. And it turns out that the graveyard of the United States in this case will be Iran, because Iran, with the help of the Houthis, are the ones that helped bring down this powerhouse, previously thought unbeatable.
Well,
So
I can assure you that high level meetings with the Crown Prince of Bahrain, the second in command, the ruler's son, and the second in command of Pakistani military forces. Long conversation took place with the request coming from Bahrain. We want to join the Pakistan Saudi agreement, military agreement, not the Mecca Agreement, the military relationship.
right,
Happened yesterday. I'm quoting you directly from the source.
yeah. So no, and that's important because um, again, it signals that the countries are now they've realized, as we have speculated in the past, that folks are growing quite tired of the promises of the United States to protect them when they can't protect them, and then to top it off, to make them more vulnerable to attack. That has been a true shock, I think, for many. They recognize that they can no longer count on the United States to keep them safe.
Well, not only that, Larry, I mean, the reality on the ground that everybody sees over there is that the bases for the Fifth Fleet are inhabitable. You know, this is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I've just seen some more of these news flashes come across the screen. So, yeah, the Trump administration is planning to try to, bully China this way. Yeah, but it's absolutely not going to work. They're calling it Operation Economic Outcast. You know what the irony is? The United States is going to wind up on the outside looking in, and I say you're old enough. You're old enough to remember that song from the 1950s, where the refrain was, "Why is everybody be picking on me?"
Oh, of course I remember
Yeah, that's good.
that.
That's going to be Bessent's next tune. Why is everybody picking on us?
Well, I just have to laugh Larry, simply because I know too much.
Yeah. All right.
you
Well,
know.
let's wrap up here, because I
Okay.
think we've
All right.
given
Okay.
people a good a dump and alert.
Okay.
And
Go ahead. Provide the wrap up, please.
no, so by tomorrow, we want to encourage everybody to tune in tomorrow with Pepe and Mr. Z. They will be presenting even more information. We will have a good, clear readout of how the conversations went with Asim Munir and the Iranian officials. And by then, the a clear reaction of the world to, Bessent's non-announcement today. I mean, everybody was geared. They're waiting for it, and so instead of instead of referring to the flatulence of a mouse, we'll call it the mouse that roared, which isn't much of a roar at all. So, we listen.
Thank you very much.
We
Thank you
appreciate you.
very.
We appreciate everybody watching. Hit that like and subscribe button. Check out the Substack, and we thank you for watching.
Become a paid member. We will deliver this inside your mailbox twice a week with extraordinary analysis from world-renowned military analyst Larry Johnson, global journalist Pepe Escobar, and the rest of our team. We are doing this for you. We appreciate your support. We will see you tomorrow and day after tomorrow on our schedule. All three of us will be here. So thank you very much and goodbye. And we'll be back with more up to date inside information.